If I think of AI, I remember distinctly, this is around 14, 15 years back when my started his schooling. And I went into school, and what they told me is that technology is going to replace everything in the long run, apart from jobs which are creative and jobs which need care. So I think that time I sat back and I said, मेरी job safe है. मैं creative आदमी हूँ और in the long run I don't need to worry. So if I'm a doctor, if I'm a nurse, or if I'm a creative guy, my job is safe. But cut to that, and when AI came, and I think everybody became worried about the fact that whether we will have a job or not. But I think when I think of AI, I feel very strongly now that it's not about whether AI will eat your job or not. It's about the fact that if you don't have the AI, what are you going to do? Forget anything else. Forget that job hoga ki nahi. And I was just talking to a colleague, a while ago, and she was telling me about the fact that I focus a lot on, the work that I can do with my hands and my legs, more physical work, because I don't know what to do in this world of AI where everything gets done without using your brain power. So I think that's what comes to my mind. And I think the only thing that I'm going to leave this room with, one final thought on AI, which is that you just need to know what to do with it. I think as long as you know what to do with it, it works beautifully.
So I'll keep it really short. I think it's the women. So I think AI, when I think of AI, one word that comes to mind is power. And we all know with power comes great responsibility, and that's what it is.
Now let's see if this works for men. It does. Yeah, I think when I think of AI today, I think maybe 2 years ago I was personally a bit skeptical of AI. But I think today AI is being used everywhere. But the biggest thing that comes to my mind is how people have become less creative, less resourceful, and they don't have the agency about them anymore, where they're using AI to just write their resumes, write press releases, write content. So where is the originality in that content? But I think having said that, AI today, I feel I have a different view on it. I think it's a total lever to work with. I think it's pretty amazing in terms of how best we can use it. And I think that's the way to really look at it. And I think there's been a lot of conversation on how you use AI. So I think everybody in the communications industry should be also coached on, what is known as prompt engineering. So how do you use it? I think to Atul's point, I mean, it's become very useful, but how we use it is really important. So I think I'm a big proponent of what AI can do for our industry.
As per my for me as well. So as per my experience, I would say AI is game changing. Not just for the content generation, but for any problem solving. I know a team taking hours to solve the problem. Now AI can solve the problem in just minutes, right? Uh, be it content generation, be it problems solutions. You can create softwares. You can create complex softwares with the AI, which was never imagined created by a human, which take around 6 months or 1 year for one software come to the market. So since I'm coming from the tech background, about how we exactly leveraging this, one question is always there. When we're generating something with the AI, is that authentic? Is that real? Is that my privacy is being protected or not? This will be, I believe, will be the question for next few years, and then we will do something in the AI world to actually handle such things, to privacy, to handle the ethics of the AI when you're generating content, generating code, generating softwares, or solving any problem. Yeah.
Hello, friends. 6 months before, when some content was produced and put before me, I used to ask AI to use नहीं किया तुमने? And today, I'm seeing everywhere, and I'm happy that the overall quality has gone much, much better. Definitely, a little bit of authenticity is missing because important is not that who created it. Important is why it was created. Is there a connect? And if it helps, which it is actually helping, in overall raising the bar scale of the content or creative, why not? So AI is here and it's going to stay here. We better embrace it and bring authenticity. Yes, we will never lose our role because human connect and emotions will never come into that. That's where we have to continue to play the role of validator, if not anything else.
Thank you. Very well said. I agree with all of you. But one question that still comes to my mind is when I think of AI, it's of course powerful, but somehow I also fear that it's making us lose our productivity. It's just a click away. Even the WhatsApp messages you get now, ChatGPT. So where is that authentic line? How do we draw it? How do we, figure out what is an authentic narrative in this AI-generated age? If I can start with you.
I'm going to be very, I think, brief with this. I strongly feel that I think when industrial revolution came in, it freed up a lot of time on people's hands and they became more productive because probably somebody guided us to say, you know what is it that we need to focus our energies on? I think AI is similar. It completely depends whether you hand over the creative tasks to AI or the more strategic tasks to AI or probably the more mundane tasks to AI. So reporting, analysis, a lot of work which probably still needs your stamp on it. Probably those are the things that can go to AI. And authenticity, creativity, wherein we need to put more of our effort, which is about probably, creating those campaigns, probably going back to our clients with counsel, going back with narratives, going back with messaging. I think those are spaces which we should keep for ourselves and leverage AI to dominate spaces which are probably, which most of associates who work around me, they find it boring. So move all the boring tasks to AI and keep all the interesting work and creative work to yourself. I think that's where we could start from. And that's how we can probably keep the authenticity and creativity intact.
So just to build on what Atul said, of course it's that, but also authentic today is not just accurate. So it's not about just ensuring that you're factually correct, because that AI can probably help you do. But what is important is intent, is why you're doing what you're doing. So brands can go wrong, organizations can say something that they didn't mean to. But as long as your intent is right, as long as the place that you're coming from, your context, the tonality, the end goal, the intention, what we say, is in the right space, I think you will be authentic and people will be able to see through that you're authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about, it definitely makes life more useful. And the whole idea being that it's probably a creativity killer. I think that's what we really have to focus on. But I think we as humans are not accustomed to receiving emotionally resonant content or messages from machines, right? So whether it's a WhatsApp message or it's an AI prompt on ChatGPT, Perplexity or whatever. But maybe in the future, can brands and organizations build LLMs that incorporate some level of humanization? And can they build data sets that are able to stitch stories better? Perhaps yes. But I think as Abhilasha and Atul also alluded to, I think it is the intent behind what we're doing. The human always has to be in charge, right? So again, what I said before, the right prompts, the right intent, what do we really want out of this, right? I think the other thing that AI is doing very well is for iterative content, right? So if you're, I mean, at Allison, for example, we have a private GPT environment that we use. And if you're drafting a blog post for a client, you can always feed it into that private GPT environment and say, hey, could you make this a little better, right? So you get a iterative version back. But the issue with that is that, again, you have to filter out because AI content is still not very authentic in that sense. It doesn't strike a chord. It is not so resonant. So again, you have to give it that sort of copy check to make sure that, is this the right tone, sentiment, and all of those things. So I think it's still very early days. I don't think anybody's figured out AI as yet. I think even Apple hasn't figured out AI as yet. So that's the biggest benchmark that we have. But I think certainly down the line, it is going to be a tremendous tool for all of us if used wisely. And then there's this whole other thing about, biases and disinformation. And I think transparency in AI is also very important. What sources are we quoting? Things like that. So that's what I feel on it. Bit of a long-winded answer, but yeah.
But I want to ask one thing, like this is a personal question. So even if we are giving multiple prompts to ChatGPT to personalize it and tone it better according to our briefs and whatever, but still the words and everything that the database of ChatGPT has is going to be using, they are going to be similar across. Like if I'm using those words, somebody else in another organization would be doing the same thing. So how
Right.
do we, navigate this thing that we do not create a mundane and a repetitive campaign note or something and it's unique?
Yeah, so I think again it's on intent, and there are tools out there that allow you to do that. So we check for plagiarism. We check for is this what percentage of this copy is AI generated, and I think to the more discerning readers and audiences like us, we can tell very quickly if somebody has sent us a press release draft which is completely AI generated, right? So I think that onus lies on us. I think that's where the human intelligence has to come in, and some discretion on how we are using that, right? Like I'll give you an example. Right? I've started using Grammarly for my emails, a lot, and more than half the times I actually don't use the prompt it gives me because I know it changes the tone of my communication, and that's not me. That's not how I talk. So yes, for punctuation and all of those things, it makes sense. But would I use all of Grammarly's prompts to recorrect my email? No, absolutely not, right? Because it does not define who I am.
So I'll do a follow-up question. So how are we, basically what are the best contributions of AI in driving authentic narrative and mitigating risks?
I believe it's all about how you train your models. That can be your ChatGPT general one, everyone using, or you may be using any custom models. How you train is with your emotions. Definitely, AI cannot generate the emotions, but if you train well, you upload your own documents, you upload your few of your emails copies, and train it well. Like, hey, whenever I generate anything, just make sure my lingo, my tone, and how basically I speak or write should be in the email, should be in the content. If we train it well with our own content, I think AI is one of the genie. You will just say, hey, I need this, and generate in just second or minute. And then sometimes we face challenge when we say, no, this is not look authentic. This is not look like me. This is not me. Just change it. So write prompt, and with the existing content that we have already written, I think will be the winning and will give us right content that our audience can be relate to. Not to just they will see this is the AI generate content. I must say, if you content even have the spelling mistakes, that will work because everyone will feel like, hey, this is not the AI generated, right?
We should start making mistakes to make it look human.
So, for most of us in this room, it is the generative AI which we are talking and which we are using actually. But the pure AI is much more and much beyond that actually. All of us have seen that. It is helping, its biggest contribution is it's bringing out the perspectives which, because it's fetching out information from multiple sources. And also because the scale which at which the AI operates is unthinkable otherwise if we are at our own resources also. So there is definite contribution and it's going to at a multiply at levels which we cannot even imagine also. And it has done wonders in the areas which are like education, healthcare, everywhere. Also like Atul said, also, like Industry 4 has become Industry 5, we are moving towards Industry 5. The global competence is coming in the SMEs, which are otherwise could not have thought of crossing the border of the state, forget the country. They are, with the help of AI, they are able to use that actually. So this is definitely a boon, and I'm very happy that it's here. About creativity, it is not going to kill creativity. Actually, it's just putting its own perspectives, and as all of our fellow panelists said, how best is a prompt. I mean, just yesterday I created one of the posts actually. So it took me 5 iterations, but ultimately what came out was fantastic, and it was just a thank you note actually. But it was so impressive that I said, oh wow, my creative studio would have taken half a day to come out with this. So let's be happy with it, let's stay with it.
Okay, so I'll pose my next question. What are the key principles that should guide the ethical use of AI? If I can start with you, Atul.
So I think I'll try and step back a few and retrace a few steps. And I think one of the reasons why I say this is, I think when we talk about AI in the room, and we were having this interesting conversation a while back, saying that आज से 1 साल पहले भी हम बात कर रहे थे AI के बारे में, और ज़्यादा कुछ बदला नहीं है. And I think that's where the conundrum lies. So more than, I think, in this room, if I had to make sense to this audience, I think one of the things that I would say, that large chunk of the push that is coming on AI is from individual use. As organizations, how much are we investing in AI? And when I talk about organization, I'm talking about agencies, people like us. How much are we investing in AI? Because problem is that in this entire revolution right now is being driven by BYOAI. So in Gurgaon, we are more used to BYOB. But if I have to focus on BYOAI, it is essentially some associate or some kid got up and said, you know what, मुझे थोड़ा कम काम करना है. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this AI to help my job become a little easy. So there are no guardrails, right? So if I want to make it more ethical, if I want to make it more organizationally structured, then organizations need to start adapting to AI and probably start pushing it to people, saying, you know, these are the broad guardrails, how we want to work around it. Right now, I think we are all, I wouldn't say struggling, but we are all experimenting, and we are trying to see what will come along our way. And in some cases, we are succeeding, and in some cases, somebody wakes up and say, ये तो plagiarism है, ये आप क्यों कर रहे हैं? And some clients would say, wonderful work, keep at it. So I think as organizations, if we can go back and if we can start investing in AI in a proper way to say, you know what, I'm going to make sure that my 120 people are going to be AI enabled by the next 3 years, I think that's what will make it more ethical, more organizationally structured, more creative, and everything else. I don't know, it's a long answer to your short question, and I don't know if it answers it, but I think somewhere, instead of trying to be on 30,000 feet, I think if we can get down to the very specifics and basics, I think when we meet next year in this room, hopefully, you know, and if we are having these conversations, and a lot of people in this room will turn around and say, I've done this. I know how AI is influencing my life. Because otherwise, we all are talking a lot of AI, but I don't know how much AI is happening, which is changing our lives in the very first place.
Okay, so I'm going to take a step back and first say how to use AI best. So I'm saying AI is just a tool. Let's not overemphasize on what AI can do, not do. We have to consider it as a tool that will enable me and other communications professionals, as it would other professionals and organizations, to do their job better. AI is not doing our job, it's helping us do our job better. So that's the differentiation one. Secondly, the moment you know that, you have to be as authentic as you would be while using any other tool. You have to tell whoever your end consumer is that I've used the tool. So it's important that you're transparent. You have to tell the end user that I have used AI in this manner, and hence this is the product and this is why it looks like ABC. So transparency becomes really, really important. Consent. I cannot be taking data from my users, from my subscribers, without their consent by just breaching their privacy. So data, privacy, those are very important aspects while using technologies like AI. Other than that, there's also a sense of accountability. What he spoke about, where individuals are using AI, I feel that as and talking about communications professionals again, we have to be accountable to our own profession. The moment you start writing press releases as is, as they come out of AI tools, you stop being accountable to your audience. You have to ensure, I mean, it's great to use it as a tool, leverage it, understand different ways from ChatGPT or other tools of AI on what is the best way to write, say, a press communication. But at the end of the day, that intervention, that human touch, that empathy that AI lacks cannot be displaced by what AI is giving. So it's important that you're accountable to your audience, and that you can do by ensuring that you bring in a part of you, like what he was saying, that I cannot have grammarly correct everything that I say. It's important that I have a part of me, some bits of it in the content.
No, I would say, I think my co-panelists have covered this question very well. The other two things I would add to this is, I think one is attribution. So what sources are we using and from where? There was also somewhere I read that, in creating content, which is both a combination of original content plus AI generated, I think disclosure is very important, especially when it comes to, maybe ads or publicity content, to say that, some part of this content was created using AI tools, right? So that's okay, because, then people know what they're looking at. I think the other thing is that, again, I would take a step back. I think the role of what we do as earned media is also very important in sort of feeding the right inputs to these LLM models, because that's where they get accurate information from. So I think the role of public relations is very important in driving the right kind of outcomes and information that these AI engines crawl. So there's 2-3 very quick things would be, I think it is incumbent on us as communications folks to check on the veracity of information that AI is generating, whether there's any disinformation or misinformation. I think the third or the second or the last would be around any biases that come up. Again, we have to apply that human filter. I think those would be sort of the 2 or 3 things that I would add to what Atul and Abhilasha said on ethical use of AI. Transparency is, I think, the core tenet here. Yeah.
I think most of this covered, but I would say, I believe all of you generate content, generate PR, right? Write articles. I just want to say that not just the AI responsibility, that how it will look like authentic. It's our responsibility that one of the PR that you have written, one of the article that you have written, कोई उसको बैठ के read कर रहा होगा, बड़े प्यार से उसको देख रहा होगा, ना कि people will be like after 2 years, यार AI से generated है, right?
Mr. Shen.
So as my fellow co-panelists have said, it is rightly, it's very mechanical and monotonous. We have to bring emotion, we have to embrace it for what is not in it, the human touch which is not there in that. And for that we have to be very honest and accepting it, that's what some part has been created using the AI, and others we have to put our own efforts and our own emotions into it. And the flip side is that a lot of fake content, deep fake is being generated, which is creating havoc outside. So bringing authenticity and differentiating it becomes very challenging in this world, actually. But we have to put a boundary line, and announce it as and when we are using it at AI, actually.
Yeah, so with this, I think we are done with our time, although we started late because of the mic issue. But I think I would just like to end it by saying that even though AI might be our pens, but we remain the poets. We humans are the ones who write the story, and the soul of the story belongs to us. And AI is just a tool. We are using it. AI is not using us. So I think by the next time, next year, we'll have better conversations and better answers. And thank you to my wonderful panelists for navigating this subject with utmost clarity and precision.